when you see something so exciting that it's got your attention. You don't know who it is, what it is, or anything, but it's got your mind thinking, and you're looking, whether you're married, single, or not. You're looking. You're going to be like, who is that? And if you're an artist, you have to take that and you have to add it to what you do. And that's why with my J-Write thing, I'm incorporating that with my fashion. My fashion line is extremely on that compatibility with the music I write. The music I write is the same takeoff of what you're going to see from the Prince era, except it's not Prince. It's the same excitement of it, it's just different. It's not Prince songs, it's my songs. The fashion, everything is driven with the same excitement because guess what? That's what music and fashion does.
It does.
Now, as far as the connection goes between this music and the fans, what kind of stories do you have of anybody? Has anybody come up to you after a show and said, hey, man, I really appreciate that you're doing this music. It's made this kind of an impact. Have you had the impression from people that somebody's outlook on life maybe has been changed from being able to see you play this music?
Definitely. Even with my own music, people walk up to my music and they can recognize the era of style of that music where it came from, and they can be like, hey, man, this reminds me of this time or this artist or something like that, and man, we definitely need that back, whether it's mine or when I'm doing the Prince show. When I'm doing the Prince show, I add all of these elements of what Prince would do. I'm like, Prince would probably add this or that or do this to 1999 or Controversy or Sex MS or who knows what. And I add all these elements, and these people, they get it. They come to our shows, they get what I'm doing. I'm not trying to be a polished, replica of the record, because I'm like, I'm not here to give you the record. I'm here to give you a performance.
Right. Yeah.
Prince would never play 1999 like the record. He would give you a performance of the song, but he would change it up, and that's what people loved about him so much. I'm like, you know what? That's what I want to do. If you hear me play this, you're gonna get one hell of a version of me playing this damn song, and these people go bonkers. Completely out of their minds. I have to tell you, if you haven't seen us, you'll be like, you know what? I've seen Prince do that, and now I see Erotic City doing that, and I see where they got it from. They got this whole Prince thing down. It's like science.
Cool.
And that's because of a generation. When you grow up watching these things, you start to bring in those elements. And the old generation gets it, the new generation gets turned on. And I tell you, we've done shows for these kids that were from age, I want to guess, from 3 to 13 and up. And they're completely overwhelmed, excited, because they've never seen anything like it.
A lot of times,
I don't have to be Justin Bieber.
The kids, too, a lot of times they're not kind of as jaded with how things are in the world as we get to be as we grow older, and so they see these clothes and they see these get-ups and everything, and that's really exciting.
Well, yeah, when you see an elaborate artist like Prince, and then you got somebody like me who's emulating that, and then I add to it with my own flair, my own stuff, it's an eye-catcher. You see, we're like, wait a minute, he don't look like Justin Bieber. He don't look like, the Disney kids. Wait a minute, this ain't the new kids on the block. Wait, what is that? And they're excited because it's bold and it's like entertaining. When it's entertaining, you got them sitting at the edge of their freaking seat. And then they dig it because, you're not scared to give it to them, and they're not scared to be receptive to what you're doing. And I recognize that with kids, middle-aged, older people. I mean, even people in their 60s and 70s. I know how to entertain those people. I know where they come from. I come from that generation of, like, hey, you know what? I know the blues. I know Little Richard. I know Chuck Berry and Elvis. I know what kind of excitement they gave you guys. Because that's where Prince got it from, and Sly and the rest of them. I'm like, I know that feeling. Watching, Soul Train, American Bandstand, and Don Kirshner's rock concert and Midnight Special. That's where everything was driven from. And I watched it growing up, so I know these things. I know, like, you know what? I know exactly how to give it to this person, and it could be a 30-year gap, and I can stretch it all the way to the youngest to the eldest. And it works.
Yeah, I'll be 43 this August, so I grew up watching that stuff too. I remember.
Yeah.
Oh God, what was that? What was that show? The Golden something. Solid Gold. I remember watching Solid Gold.
Solid Gold.
Yeah, Solid Gold. I remember watching Solid Gold. So yeah, I'm dating myself now.
But yeah, those were the golden eras.
Mm-hmm,
you know,
it was.
They were very exciting times. You know, and Prince was just, oh my God, he just happened to be like, he just happened to be right in the middle of a perfect generation to explode with what he was doing. I don't think nobody was able to do it any better. I know Michael, when he did, came out with Thriller. Bruce Springsteen came out with his big album, and Madonna was out there. Those were the ringleaders. I think Prince just happened to have this unique idea that just changed the whole thing. I don't think they were ready for him to come out the way he did.
I think nobody was, really.
Well, after 1999, because when MTV came out, he was one of the very few Afro-Americans that came out, but they didn't look at him like that. They didn't look at, Prince was never looked at like a true Afro-American. He didn't look like that.
Right.
He didn't look like your typical person like that. From the way he looked and dressed and his music style, you looked at him like, who is this rock and roll sexual dude? And he was bold and crazy. And you're like, Michael's not like that. Michael's exciting, but not, and Prince was exciting in a different way. I think Prince was exciting where he tapped into something about us that even Michael was scared to do. And Michael was like, I want to keep this for the kids. And Prince was like, no. I want your kids to act like grown-ups. So.
Well, Prince, too, like I mentioned previously, he always tried to be as authentic as possible and do things his way and not the way that was, being done around the time necessarily. Whereas some of the other big pop acts, like Michael Jackson, of course, he was unique on his own, but he still kind of tried hard to follow the way that the river was flowing as far as pop music went. He tried to stay relevant, so to speak. And
Michael was trying to break records.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so
Michael was trying to... Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you're right. He was trying to break the records and try to, be a pop music sensation, whereas Prince, on the other hand, was just trying to be Prince.
Yeah, just being himself.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, Prince was a musician. So anytime you see him, he related to musicians where Michael didn't relate to musicians. Michael related. If you look at Michael's Thriller tour, the Dangerous tour, or any of them, those tours he did, and you look out into the audience, and all of those, you look at the audience. Oh my God! You see a lot of kids.
Wow.
There's a lot of kids. And it's great because, he has 30, 40, 60,000 kids out there digging what he's doing. And he's doing this explosive performance, but it was generated to a different age demographic. Where Prince was relating to more of an adult sexual demographic. Those kids weren't ready for like a Prince concert. Prince had a different generation. And it was needed because nobody was doing it the way Prince was doing it. The only other artist that did it before Prince and didn't get the full impact was people like Little Richard, who did all of that, but he was kind of stunted because, they wanted to give it to people like Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis and all those kind of people. But, Prince took the power of all of that and regenerated it. into the 80s, where it was just like this whole new thing. And surprisingly, you know what? Prince was a huge, huge fan of the Stray Cats. Because before that, Prince had this other idea, and his guitar player, Daz Dickerson, I met him, and he told me this story directly. He goes, we were in London, and we seen the Stray Cats, and these guys had the Papadoo hairdos, and they were a three-piece band, and they had this whole thing going on, and they drove the freaking audience into a frenzy. And Prince seen this for the first time. This is right before Controversy. He goes, Prince seen this, and he was extremely hooked onto this new vibe of electricity going on in music.
That's cool.
And if you look at Prince after that, you can see the hairdo changing, 3 and 4 and 5 inches high up. They call it a tassoon, and his hair was really high, and he had this extremely pretty boy look. And he started, evolving from influences, and it just goes to show you, even himself was inspired through rock and roll,
Yeah, sure.
Like that.
That's the other thing. He was involved in trends and things, but not the way that a lot of people are. A lot of people will see a trend and they'll be like, yeah, I want to try that. That's really great. And they'll just follow along, maybe drop it a little while later and try something new. But he saw something he liked, and he liked it because he liked it as any normal person just likes things that they see around him. And so he incorporated it into who he was. And it didn't matter whether it was popular or not popular at the time. It was something he liked, and so he kept it around.
Yeah, and some people have that power. It doesn't matter, where he harnessed it from. He took it and created it and made it his own. So when you seen him, you didn't see like, oh, he got that from this artist. He got that from this artist. You looked at it like, that's Prince. See, so that's a unique power he created, where how he took the influences, and no matter what he did, it wasn't like somebody was like, oh, you ripping somebody off. You never heard that in the media. Oh, Prince is stealing from Jimi Hendrix. Oh, Prince is stealing from Sly Stone or James Brown or so on and so on. You never, ever heard that. Prince was good at taking it and recreating it into his Prince world, so to say, and making it his own, because he had such a freaking strong persona.
He was really driven on who he wanted to be and what he wanted to do, and like you mentioned earlier, he was a bit of a workaholic, and he really was intense on the music and just being somebody that was authentic.
Oh yeah, he lived it. I mean, he lived it more than the 10 musicians in his band all at once while they're sleeping there. He's still in the studio. They're like, damn, dude, didn't you go to sleep? He goes, no, I got a whole new album. Learn it. We're going to perform this next week. They're like, wait a minute. Where did that come from?
There was an article I read in Rolling Stone recently, and Rolling Stone sometimes is not the Rolling Stone of old, so sometimes you can take some of that stuff with a bit of a grain of salt. But this was an interview done with one of his uncles who had kind of helped get him started in the right direction as far as music went, and he would mention that we would be playing in a studio, and I'd say, okay, we're going to take a break, and he'd say, okay, see you guys, and then he would stay there and keep playing, keep practicing, and just all day, every day, except maybe to eat or to take a nap or something. He just would continue work, and it showed.
Yeah, and that's just passion. That's just a driven passion. It's not about the money. It's all about the driven passion. I'm a musician myself. I'm in the studio of my house. I can hear something, and I'm driven to complete it or do something extended. Like I hear this something I have to complete or add to it, even if it doesn't get finished. I'm like, I gotta do this, and it's a continuous thing. At our shows, it's the same way. People are like, hey man, why do you do so many shows? I'm like, I'm driven. It's not about the money. This is a passion of mine. I don't care if it's one person in the crowd or 1,000 people. Doesn't matter. That one person's going to get the same thing that 1,000 people are getting. I want to give them the same thing.
Hmm.
Because I want that one person to